Welcome back to the John R. Kirk Planetarium. I'm Raj Pandya, Director of the Planetarium, and in this mini virtual planetarium show, I'm going to highlight the partial annular solar eclipse that takes place on the morning of June 10th, 2021. We will begin at 5 a.m. on June 10th. Now, if you're going to view this eclipse, it's very important that you have a clear view of the northeastern horizon. As the eclipse does take place during sunrise, you won't be able to see it if you are standing in any place that has tall trees or buildings nearby. A suggested location would be the rooftop of a very tall building, or, as you can see here, on the walkway over the Hudson, where you'll have a clear view of the northeastern horizon. This is very important. If you do plan to view this eclipse, make sure you have the proper solar viewing equipment. Don't just try to look at it with your eyes, as that will be very damaging to your eyes. So we're going to start at 5 a.m. and we're going to fast forward through time, and the sun should rise in our area at about 5:21 a.m. And when the sun does rise, you'll notice that the moon is partially blocking it. We will not see a total solar eclipse for a few reasons. First of all, just because of our location in New York, the moon will not be completely covering the sun, but partially. So now we can see that happening, and I will zoom in towards the horizon. You can see the sun has started to rise, but most of the sun is covered up by this black disk, which is, of course, the moon. So here in New Paltz, the sun will be about 74% covered during the mid-eclipse, which is right about at sunrise. Now I'm going to zoom out, and as I fast forward time, you'll notice that the sun and moon will separate. The entire eclipse will end at about 6:32 a.m. The other reason that it will not be a total solar eclipse is because the moon is too far from the Earth right now to completely cover up the disk of the sun. So this is what we call an annular eclipse. The distance between the Earth and the moon varies because the moon has an elliptical orbit. Now, the average distance between the Earth and the moon, as shown here, is about 384,400 kilometers. And if the moon was completely in line with the sun at this distance, we would get a total solar eclipse, which would look like this, where the moon completely covers the disk of the sun. However, on June 10th, 2021, the distance between the Earth and the moon is going to be 402,993 kilometers. So because the moon is a little bit further away from Earth than average, the moon will appear smaller in the sky from our point of view, and it will not completely cover up the sun. So what we're going to get is, if you're in the ideal location, is a black circle, which is the moon, and this ring around it, which is the edge of the sun. This is called an annular eclipse. Some people call this the ring of fire. If we did want to see the moon cover up as much of the sun as possible during this eclipse, we'd have to change our location. So we're going to move away from New Paltz and go to P1, Ontario in Canada. The coordinates are 55 degrees north and 85 degrees west. So here we are in Canada. And now things will look a little bit different if we reverse time. And for them, the sun rises a little bit more north of east. And the eclipse can be seen for a longer period of time, as the moon is just going to creep in front of the sun during the morning, as you can see now. So right at about this time, we'll pause at 6:01 a.m. If you were in Ontario, Canada, you would see this, the moon directly in front of the sun, But due to the distances between the Earth and the Moon, as discussed earlier, the Moon will not completely cover the Sun, causing a total solar eclipse, but you'll get this, an annular solar eclipse with this ring of fire around the Moon. Let's fast forward time now to see what plays out for the rest of the morning in Peewinnock, Ontario, Canada. And the eclipse ends here at about 7:02 a.m. Thank you for watching this mini virtual planetarium show. Enjoy the partial solar eclipse. If you are going to try to view it, make sure you do it safely. Thank you.